We all have this thing. You could call it a social dial for our speech. And we're constantly twisting it, adjusting how we sound, a lot of the time without even thinking about it. So, what's really going on there? Well, that's what we're going to dig into.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Do you talk to your boss the same way you talk to your best friends? Probably not, right? Or does your hometown accent get just a little bit thicker when you go back for a visit? Yeah, it happens to all of us. And believe it or not, there's a really cool science behind why we do it.
So, what's the big idea behind all this?
Well, it's something called accommodation theory. Basically, it's this idea that we're constantly tweaking how we talk to either pull people closer or, to create a little bit of space. It's all about managing that social distance.
All right, so let's start with the setting most of us use all the time, convergence. This is that deep down gut instinct we have to connect with people. It's how we build bridges and just show, hey, we're part of the same tribe.
So, what is convergence? It's pretty simple, actually. It's when our speech starts to, well, mirror the person we're talking to. You start matching their pace, maybe you pick up some of their word choices, sometimes even a little bit of their accent. And you see this all the time. Think about a travel agent getting all excited right along with a customer to build that connection. Or a nurse getting a bit more formal and technical when speaking to the head doctor. Really, at the end of the day, it's just a way of being polite. It's a little signal that says, hey, I get you. We're on the same wavelength.
But, okay, convergence isn't just one thing. You've got what's called upward convergence. That's when you might, say, clean up your speech a bit for a job interview, sound a little more proper. And on the flip side, there's downward convergence. This is like when you simplify your words to make sure someone who's not a native speaker can follow along easily. In both cases, the goal is exactly the same, closing that social gap.
Okay, but how much do we really change? I mean, is it just a little bit, or is it something more? Well, a really cool study actually put this to the test, and the results are pretty wild.
So check this out. There was this researcher, Peter Trudgill, and he was interviewing people from all different walks of life. And he noticed something amazing. When he was talking to folks who often dropped the T sound in the middle of words, saying butter instead of butter, he started doing it too, a lot. In fact, he matched them about 98% of the time.
But wait, here's where it gets really interesting. Because when he turned around and interviewed someone from a group that pronounced all their T's, his own speech just snapped back. His use of that dropped T sound plummeted to just 30%. I mean, how cool is that? It just shows how automatic this whole thing is. That's our social dials spinning in real time. Okay, so that's convergence, but that's only half the picture. Sometimes we crank that social dial in the exact opposite direction. This is what we call divergence, and it's all about making a point by sounding different.
Right, so if convergence is all about building bridges, divergence is about building walls. It's a conscious choice to really lean into what makes us different. And man, it can be a powerful way to show who you are.
So the key thing to get here is that divergence is deliberate. You are actively using your speech to create space. You're not trying to find common ground. You're basically shouting from the rooftops, hey, we are not the same. And there's this really powerful example of this in action. A group of people learning Welsh were being interviewed by an English guy with a really posh accent. And at some point, he says to them something like, your language is dying, it has a dismal future. So, what do you think they did? Did they try to match his fancy accent? Nope, not at all. They did the complete opposite. They leaned hard into their Welsh accents, their tone got more aggressive, they even started dropping Welsh words right into the microphone. It was this incredible, passionate act of divergence, a way of defending their entire culture. And this isn't just something that happens between a few people in a room. It happens on the global stage. Think about this. When a group of Arab nations decided to release a huge announcement about oil in Arabic, not English, which is, the language of global business, that was a statement. That was a massive act of divergence, telling the world about their cultural identity and independence. All right, so we can tune in to connect with people, or we can tune out to create some space. But there's this third, kind of tricky setting on our social dial. It's called referee design, and it's basically when we start performing. We borrow someone else's voice, someone who isn't even there, to get a certain effect. The best way to think about it is like this. With convergence and divergence, you've got two people talking to each other. But with referee design, you're kind of pulling in a third person, this referee
who isn't physically there. You're channeling their style of talking for a reason. So what does that actually look like? Well, it could be as simple as a teenager perfectly imitating their teacher to get a laugh from their friends. Or think about an ad for a luxury car. They almost always use this super sophisticated prestige accent, right? Or maybe it's someone trying to sound cool or authentic by borrowing slang from a group they're not a part of. In every one of these cases, you're not just talking, you're putting on a performance. Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, you can see that this social dial of ours is always working, shaping how we connect, and telling the world who we are. Let's just quickly wrap up what we've covered. So here's the whole thing in a nutshell. Convergence is for connecting. Think talking a bit more formally with your boss. Divergence is for creating distance, like when you really lay on your local accent thick when a tourist asks for directions. And referee design is for special effects, like when you do a spot-on celebrity impression to tell a joke. The big takeaway here is that this stuff isn't random at all. We're making these tiny, constant choices with our voice that send out huge social signals. So next time you're in a conversation, just listen for a second. Ask yourself, where's my social dial set right now? Are you tuning in, tuning out? Or are you maybe playing a part? Because once you start listening for it, trust me, you'll start hearing it absolutely everywhere.